City folks, if you find yourself needing an ATM machine, Scotia Bank to our right. Scotia is the only bank that will produce American currency from an ATM. Any other bank will give you Bahamian dollars. The main street from left to right is the main street in the city of Nassau, known as Bay Street. We call this area the downtown area. If you want to do any shopping, the majority of the stores are located to our right. The store market is about 2 blocks down to our right. It's also the only area that you can bargain in for prices. But as our talk comes around to a completion, we will have the opportunity to ride down Bay Street so you'll have an idea where the different shops are located and know exactly where you want to come back to. We are going to stop at the center of our city for a few minutes while if you are one of the area straight ahead, the area to be to our left. The area coming up straight ahead, soon to be on our right, is known as Parliament Square. It is the area where all of our laws are made and the buildings date all the way back to the 1800s and were erected by the Loyalists. Loyalists were a group of Americans who refused to retire to the British during the American War of Independence. Statue in the center of the square is a statue of Queen Victoria, and it was donated by funds collected from the public who had the highest esteem around the year 1905. The date on the statue is in reference to how many years she reigned on the throne for, 1837 to 1901, 64 years. The emblem at the top of the center building is our coat of arms. At the top we have a conch shell that signifies our natural marine life here on the islands. We also have the crown that shows that we were a part of the British nation and still under the watch. To the left is our national fish, the blue marlin, and the right is our national bird, the pink flamingo. At the center is our sunshine as it tends to do daily in our balmy climate. We also have a replica of the Santa Maria that shows that the Commonwealth was used as a gateway discovered in the world by Christopher Columbus. Right at the bottom is our motto, which reads forward, upward, onward, together. The motto is supposed to inspire the direction in which our country is supposed to move. Also at the back of that area is the area where 3/4 of our magistrate court sessions are held. If you're ever in town and want to witness an old-fashioned British way of law, you can do so. Proper attire is required. Photos at the center, folks, to the left and right of the statue. The one to the left is of our first Royal Governor General. Sorry, folks, our first Bahamian Governor General who served in an independent country, known as Sir Milo Butler. The one to our right, power to the people, is a photo of our first Prime Minister, Sir Lyndon Johnson. Over to our left is Rawson Square. It is the gateway to our city for cruiser passengers, named after Sir W. Rawson, one of our governors who served around the 1860s. The statue at the center of the square is a statue of our first Bahamian Governor General, again who served in an independent country, Sir Milo Butler. The two trees just behind the light pole, with the yellow clusters, they are two of our national trees, known as the Lignum vitae, or the Tree of Life. It's also the hardest wood that can be found in the Bahamas, and back in the day, natives would have used the leaves from that tree. It would be boiled and used as a laxative. The bark of the tree would then be boiled and used as a penicillin for pain. That's why that tree was known as the Tree of Life. I see it. Right to our left, pink and white building, is the Churchill Building, established around the 1960s. That is where you can find part of our public treasury, also where a number of cabinet meetings are held. And if you are Bacardi fans, the Bacardi Building to our left is the only area that you're able to buy Bacardi souvenirs. Once we cross the stoplight, folks, that will be the older side of Bay Street, the original side, where you would have found the majority of our upscale homes, also import-export docks. The docks and the homes have been relocated, so we can try to beautify the side of Bay Street. Just behind the wall to our left is where you would have found one of our first major shipping buildings, the Trevor Kelly building, destroyed a few months ago by a fire. The fire started from a telephone line. And to our left was the original Trevor Kelly building from back in the day. Right there where the bus is parked up is one of our public bus stops. All the buses are just like the one we're on, different numbers taking you around the island. Downtown Bay Street is the heartbeat of the bus system. Right into our right, folks, neatly dressed folks. These are some of the many uniforms that our local police officers wear. Those young folks are some of our local constables. And as we're going down Bay Street, you see a number of dilapidated buildings. The reason for that is the majority of the property on this side of Bay Street belongs to the leading families, group of gentlemen known as the Bay Street Boys. And folks, once you're down here on the island, you're enjoying your vacation, you can always have a good time. Don't spend any of your time at any green and white buildings like the one to our right, folks. All the police stations, same color, green and white. What we're going to be doing now is making our way up to Fort Montague. Once we get up at Fort Montague, I'll give you all 20 minutes in which you have to take the tour, shop around with the local vendors if you choose to. From that time, we make our way up to Fort Charlotte. Coming up into our left, VIP is the oldest Chinese restaurant business on the island, about 7 different locations. Coming up to our right, pink and white building coming up to our right, where the cars are parked, is our original Bahamian rum cake factory. Commonwealth Bank to our right is locally owned by a gentleman known as Mr. Brent Simonet, and his father was also the first premier before we had prime ministers. His father was known as Sir Roland Simonet. Coming up to our left, pink and white area, is a part of our land and survey from around the 1980s. Building just behind Rufus is where you can find a part of our marine resources, also agriculture. And if you are looking at the pumps and prices, folks, we don't post prices at the pump. What we want locals to do is come and authorize the pump, pull the cars up, and we surprise them with the price afterwards, folks. About $4.30 per gallon. To our left at the very back, orange and green building, that was the home of our first premier, Sir Roland Simonet. After he passed away, his kids turned into a restaurant, so some folks get to enjoy it. Coming up to our left at the antenna, we have Basra, Bahamas Air Sea Rescue Association. It is built on Pan Am's first plane ramp. Pan Am was the first commercial plane to the island in 1929. Before they had a plane ramp, they would have docked outside the harbor and ferry passengers into land. We do have 2 connecting bridges that connects the mainland to the Atlantis Paradise. This one here to our left is the last one to be completed. It is the Sidney Poitier Bridge. Bless you. And we named the Sidney Poitier Bridge, reason being because he's a great man, great actor, and also a great Bahamian for us. And I'll give you some mystery, folks, of the Atlantis as we're going down. Just so you know, the island was originally known as Hog Island, first belonging to one of our Governor Generals, Governor Nicholas Trott. He bought the island for 50 pounds and named it Hog Island. He was from Hog Bay, Bermuda. Later being resold to Dr. Alex Wintergrain, the late Swedish multi-millionaire. He bought the island, built a mansion on it. It remained underdeveloped for a while, later being resold to Huntington Hartford. Hartford's the one who started the development of the island, also the one who renamed it Paradise. In 1967, Resorts International bought 75% of Mr. Hartford's interest in the island for $14 million. $22 million was spent to develop the island. In 1987, that 75% interest was sold to Donald Trump for $100 million. 1 year later, he resold it to Merv Griffin for $400 million. Resold again in the year 1994 to Saul Kersner, South African businessman, for about $125 million to produce what we know today as the Atlantis Paradise. The first tower to be completed is the one with the connecting arch, known as the Royal Towers. That connecting arch was originally known as the Michael Jackson Suite, reason being because he was the first, also the longest to spend time at the suite. It is $25,000 per night, 4 nights minimum, folks.